Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Cypher. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Nets Kingdom One. All our Twitters are scrolling at the bottom, and check out netskingdom.net for the articles. So today, the Nets, we got the news that the Nets are having a fire sale, man. It's trade. We finally got some news. Shout out to Scotto and HoopsHype. They dropped the article basically naming all what executives think about our pieces that we're trying to trade. But before we get to that, we're gonna quickly touch on this Bulls game, which was not really important. But Nets are currently, what are we on? An 0-3. We're 0-3 streak, losing streak. They just beat the Bulls just beat us 128-102. Dariq Whitehead had 18 points, 6 for 10 from three. Schroder 16, Milton 14, Clax 11 and 8. Brooklyn shoots 40% on field goals and 33% from three. Offensive struggle. Just quickly talk about that game, this Bulls game. What did you see? I guess what positives and negatives you saw. I guess.
Okay, so I mean, Jordi Fernandez has established a real culture and mindset into these players.
Yeah,
Like they are trying hard. They've drawn, I think, 17 offensive fouls this year, 18 offensive fouls.
yeah,
Last year they drew 9 for the whole season. So you got guys just falling to the floor, ready to take that contact, diving for loose balls, pressing full court. In the first half, that showed. Like they were only down by 6 points by halftime. Keeping this a competitive game, getting to the line. Trying to really mess with the Bulls' offense. The problem is in the second half.
mhm,
This looked like an injured, tired team on a second half of back to back because
dude,
Levine and Vucevic just went off.
yeah,
21 points in the third quarter combined. We couldn't stop them. We couldn't score at all. Without Cam Thomas, without Ben Simmons, to help create the offense. We just couldn't score, couldn't put the ball in the basket. And Schroder, he played okay. Whitehead hit his
mhm.
open shots, but that's just not enough to win an NBA game today.
Yeah. Very nasty game, bro. Like it was just. I know, like we were kind of in the game in the first half, and the second half, I was just like, "Oof, this is kind of tough to watch." This is like, but it's great for the tank. I'm happy. I was kind of in a depressed mood after we were winning all these games. I know Nets fans right now, Nets Twitter is like divided. We got it's the tank versus the anti-tank fans. Like it's those two fan bases like kind of dividing themselves. But I'm supporting the tank, and so I'm actually happy about these three losses that we've had in a row.
Yeah,
But
people who think the Earth is round versus people who think the Earth is flat.
yeah, basically that's what it is in Nets world right now. Shout out to let us know in the comments what side are you on if you're anti-tank or not tank. Let us know. I mean, anti-tank or tank. So this HoopsHype article, man, it was very, very interesting. Michael Scotto, shout out to Mike Scotto, breaking down all these guys' worths. So we first got the news on CJ. Now it says here, I'm gonna read. It says, it actually said CJ. He said, "I want to build this. I really like Coach Jordy. I like our staff. I think we're heading in the right direction. I can tell them exactly what to do and how to proceed." Johnson has owed 65.54 million through the 2026-27 season. Executives have spoke with HoopsHype and said could possibly get a future first round pick. Talk about CJ's worst side. Were you excited to hear? I mean, HoopsHype giving CJ this stamp and everybody, I guess, the first round pick for CJ.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Look,
Mm,
this new CBA, a player like Cam Johnson, like that's right. He's a good player. Like could be a starter on a contending team.
yeah,
Anywhere from 4 to 6 in the rotation. Valuable player, excellent 3-point shooter, could create a little bit off the dribble, effective playmaker, could pass, makes the right decision. Very rarely turns it over.
yeah,
Okay defender, has a tendency to really get torched by other players, but he's 6'8", he's switchable, he's okay for the most part. Uh, like he is a guy that is worth, probably a lightly protected first.
yeah,
And I know there are a lot of Nets fans that saw what Marks did with Bridges and how they got 5 first in a swap last year.
yeah,
Uh, but that was luck. Like the Knicks, they wanted Bridges because of that Villanova connection,
yeah,
and Bridges has a reputation in the NBA that is better than the player that he actually is. Johnson is similar, but he's not the same. You
yeah,
could get a first, maybe you could luck out and get two, but you're not going to get this package, this insane package for Cam Johnson.
yeah. Very interesting to me, and I agree with all your takes. The first round pick. CJ's been, like I said, I think I said this last stream. CJ's been having one of the greatest stretches of his career. Like these past few games, I don't think I've seen CJ play like this ever. Even when he was on the Suns, like the consistency, the 30-point games, like he's been shooting lights out. I mean, the defense has been really sad, but at the same time, it's like he's giving us what we want to do. You're a shooter, you got to shoot shots and make threes. He's making movement threes, as you see in these clips. He's making we're actually running plays for him off the screen, when he's hot. So it's like it really interested me in the trade in the open market. I was like, he's got to be worth the first. Now, the thing with the Nets fans are kind of reaching and like, okay, Saif, we can get two. Like, you see how CJ is playing. What is he average? He's averaging 17. He's shooting 40% from three, 42, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. We could get two. Like, what are you going to say to Nets fans that are like, should we hold till the trade deadline to get two, or do you think Sean should just bite on the one if he sees a good one first round pick?
Look, it's a risky game, and
Yeah,
look, if I was the GM, I would just take whatever you have now. Because
yeah,
look, Cam Johnson, I like Cam Johnson, but he is injury prone. Like the
yeah,
guy has not played more than 60 games since I believe 2022. A lot of soft tissue injuries, hamstring strains, ankles. Like he's hurt right now, and he's been better this year. Like he's been very durable, but if he gets hurt, then all his value is down the drain. And
yeah,
look, holding out for two first, it just like look at all the teams that would want him, and look at
mhm,
what draft picks they have to trade. None of
yeah.
them are going to do it for Cam Johnson.
Yeah, yeah, and I think most of the contenders are not willing to give up two for CJ. I think one, he deserves that one. And then if you think about it too, like, okay, if Sean does this thing and holds past the trade deadline, I know we have CJ on for a couple years, but the only reason I'm pro sell CJ, so I want him gone as soon as possible. If we get a good first, take it. I'm not thinking we're gonna get two first, but in a situation where I would want to keep him is if you promised me that CJ was going to get traded at the draft to move up, like to include him in a package to move up or get a possible second round lottery, if we can mix in something there, I would keep CJ. That's the only situation, but I don't trust Sean to do that during the draft. I don't think Sean will move like CJ and take our one of our bottom first rounds and combine that to get like a number 8. I don't think. And then you got to think about the lottery too. Like a team's gonna actually have to want CJ for us to move up. So I think the best case scenario is get the first now and just lose games. Yeah. So
Another
mm,
scenario which I don't think they would do, but I
mm,
think they should consider it is you could keep CJ, just
mm,
shut him down.
yeah,
Just say, "Oh, he's got an Achilles strain," like lie, or do whatever these teams do, and say, hold him out for like the remainder of the season, like play him an extra like 20 games, rest him for the following 40, lose all
yeah.
those games, get like a good draft pick, and then try to start winning more games the next year. That way, you have the pick and you have the good player.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I love that scenario too. I would gladly take that scenario. So moving on real quick, I guess the notable players, they basically said Boyan was worth a second round pick, just one if he looks healthy. Dayron got some love in this article, which I was surprised about because we've seen teams kind of like key in on Dayron, and I think he got interest from the Memphis Grizzlies, the Cavs, a few teams, Lakers, Pelicans, teams that need center depth. So they're going to say they're monitor. Well, Scalo said they're monitoring Dayron right now. Um, those teams, so they're seeing how Dayron's playing. So because he's going to be in a restricted free agency. So, and then we got the news about Dennis Schroder. This is what I want to talk about too, because he's shooting a career high 41% from three. He's averaging around 19. He's on a $13 million deal. But it says here those executives peg Schroder's current trade value at multiple second round picks as a potential rental. So I think what I was surprised about, I mean, a lot of Nets fans were, DMing me and replying to me like, yo, Dennis is only getting seconds. Like, hold him, hold him, hold him. We might as well hold him at this point. But what is your thought of that, Dennis? Because I didn't really expect getting a first for Dennis, but why do you think the NBA world is like, seconds, multiple seconds for Dennis, even though he's playing like really great this season?
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised at all.
Hmm.
Like it doesn't matter how he's playing. Dude, he's 31. Like he's
Yeah,
31. We have a very large sample size of what he is, and the
yeah,
reason he's playing well is because he's getting a lot of opportunity, and he's not even like he's having career highs, but it's not anything like crazy. Like we
Yeah,
saw Mikal Bridges drop 26 post trade deadline with the
yeah,
opportunity. And
yeah,
look, that was a hot sample size. I'm not going to take that away from him, but it
yeah,
wasn't indicative of who he was as a player throughout his whole career.
yeah,
And look, something Nets fans need to understand is you got to look at the bigger sample size with these older players. Like Schroder isn't 21 doing this; he's 31,
yeah,
and we know what he is. We know his archetype. He's a on-ball point guard. Teams don't really need that, and if they
yeah,
do, it's in the backup variety. So you're not going to get a first for a guy that really isn't going to be a starter.
yeah. I would say that, like I said, Dennis, I would trade him ASAP. I would
Yeah,
take those. I will take them 3 seconds ace. If somebody offered 3 seconds right now for Dennis, I don't even care what team. If if you can take me 3 seconds right now, and I mean, obviously the guy we get back has to be very low contract, or it doesn't have to be some crazy deal. I would take it. Expiring deal, somebody expiring. I would take an expiring contract for Dennis because what is he at? Only 13 mil. I found an expiring, another guy who's expiring. I would take anything like 3 seconds. I would take that. So the Dennis thing, but people trying to say whole Dennis doesn't make sense because again, like you said, he doesn't fit our timeline. And then next year he's going to be a free agent, so he's going to explore the market and see what like out in the market. I think he could be a great piece for a backup point guard on a contending team, like on a contending team that needs a backup guy to facilitate, play a little defense, get you guys going off the bench. I think that's Dennis's role in a contending team, and like I
he's
said,
also
that's
getting in the
yeah,
way. Like, look,
yeah,
Dennis, stabilizing pick and roll point guard, drive and kick. He's been very, very valuable. He's the one reason why we haven't completely fallen apart yet. But he's taking away on ball opportunities from Cam Thomas. And
yeah,
look, I'm not saying Cam Thomas is a future point guard. I'm not saying he's ever going to be like an elite playmaker, but you got to give him those on ball reps. You got to get him to pass the ball more, run pick and rolls. That way, when you do get the actual point guard, Cam Thomas will be a better passer by the time he ends up being when this team is ready to win.
yeah. And Dennis is hurting our tank, like you said. Like a lot of you go back through these wins, go back to the Nets wins. A lot of the wins, Dennis is playing very well. It's very well. Dennis is hurting the tank. So you trade Dennis, and it's gonna fall apart, fall apart very soon. So the last vet I want to talk about is Dorian Finney. So Dorian, they said here, another veteran who's having the most efficient year of his career, shooting a career high 42% from three while playing strong defense. Finney-Smith's production is similar to the 2021-22 season when he and Dallas advanced to the Western Conference Finals. Several playoff caliber teams have already expressed interest in Dorian Finney, with some valuing him worth multiple second-round picks. League sources told HoopsHype it's worth noting that Finney-Smith has 15 million player option. So if he's moved to a contender, focused on winning and prioritizing him in the rotation. So it looks like teams are calling about DFS. Teams are calling about DFS, which we're probably not surprised because I think teams are calling about CJ and CJ and DFS. I think teams are calling Dennis, not so much, but I think people would take him. With DFS, bro, were you surprised about Israel? I think they also said multiple second rounds for DFS.
Yeah.
But what do you think about DFS? Like, what team do you think playoff team is calling Sean like, yo, we can get him, let's get him?
I think the Mavericks, just off the top of my
Mhm.
head, because
Yeah,
they have that
and the Cavs too.
connection.
I feel like the Cavs and Mavs,
Yeah,
Cavs, Mavs. Yeah,
Cavs, Mavs, those are the
mhm,
two main teams.
yeah,
And it makes sense because look, he's still a good 3-and-D wing. He's shooting lights out right now for however long that'll last. Still a very, very good defender, arguably the best defender on the Nets right now.
yeah,
It's a like it makes sense, like good versatile wing, could hit his threes. I'm not surprised because I think fans expected a first, but
yeah,
he's older, he's on an expiring contract, or well, he's got the player option, but it's just this new CBA, matching salary, giving up a first. That's just a lot now today.
yeah. Teams are really like holding tight to these first. I mean, I know we saw the McHale explode 5 first, but that really kind of that hurt the market, and that the CBA is hurting the pick market too because teams are saying McHale like, okay, that 5 first. That's like the Rudy Gobert effect. You know what I'm saying? Now people want to hold on to their first, and then the CBA like people just want to hold on to their first. They don't want, especially with this stacked draft. You got to give up something good, other in the
And
NBA
and the
market.
McHale trade, like that is, I think NBA GMs are looking at that
Mhm.
and they decided that wasn't a real trade. Like that wasn't
Yeah,
a fair trade. It was just the Knicks really wanted him because of that connection, and they
Yeah.
overpaid. And I think everyone on the market agrees. Oh yeah, they overpaid because of this one specific thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because the value of a wing now is like a 3-and-D wing. I've seen it all over. Like, I saw a report that said Vucevic was multiple second rounds, and I'm like, Vucevic is having a great career. I'm like, what is this? Vucevic's multiple second rounds? So it's the value of a players is just so all over the place. But these wings, like I said, Dorian and CJ, the way they're playing this year, definitely, I know the phone is ringing for Sean. And if DFS, like I said, I'll take anything right now for DFS because he's probably the most important guy that the Nets have to move because he could just simply just walk away for free after the trade deadline. And I mean, not at the trade deadline, but after the season, he can opt out. And if playoff teams are calling, indeed, you could see him testing the market out. Like, okay, I might as well opt out. Re up with somebody, such and such and such for 2 years, 24 million or something like that. One of those deals. You add a vet or something like that. One of those small deals on a contending team. So we'll see what happens to DFS. But yeah, great article. Shout out to Scotto HoopsHype. Let us know in the comments. What do you guys think about the values of all our vets? Boyan multiple seconds, Dorian multiple seconds. Only guy who's not multiple seconds is CJ, who's possibly one future first round. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about the vets value. Hit that like button. And follow us on Instagram at Nets Kingdom 1. 0-3 losing streak. I think we're going up in the lottery right now. If you check Tankathon, we're going up. So let us know in the comments how you guys feeling about the Nets right now, and we'll be back.